What's up everyone, and welcome to the 11th HTML video tutorial here at beginnertask.com. In this video I'll be showing you how to make forms in HTML. Forms are extremely useful and they can be used for a variety of different purposes. As an example, you can make a login with a form, you can make a comment area, you can guest book, contact form, questionnaires and polls. There's basically an endless amount of applications on the web where you need to use and make forms. So it is a really important thing to learn. So let's get started. I'm just gonna leave this like that. It is important to note that a form needs JavaScript or PHP to function in reality. So in this video I'll be showing you how to create the actual form in HTML. If you then want the form to actually be working and send data, then please watch our JavaScript and PHP tutorials. In this video I'll be showing you a form that uses all the different input types. So this might become a bit of a long video, but I will try to make it short. First of all, I will need to make the form tag. It looks like this. And then I'm gonna close it like that. Then I'm gonna add an ID to the form tag, because if I then want to later use it in my JavaScript and PHP, I need to have a name which I can reference to this form. I'm just gonna call this my form, like that. The first thing I want to do is to make an input where my visitors and users can input their names. So I'm gonna type in input, and the type should then be text. I'm gonna set a maximum of characters which the name can be. So I'm just gonna choose an attribute called max length, and I'm gonna set that to 10. And I'm gonna close this input, and let's view it in the browser. Or actually, before we do that, I'm just gonna type in here name, so we know that it is the name that has to be typed in here. And I'm also gonna make a line break. Let's view it in the browser. And as you can see, we now have an input area in the form where the user can type in his name. I could type John, like that. Let's go into the HTML document again. Now I then want to make it possible for my visitors to specify their gender. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm gonna make a radio button. So I'm just gonna type male. Again, I'm gonna use input, and the type this time is radio, because it's a radio button. Then I'm gonna use an attribute called name, and that is gender, because they can choose the gender. Next I'm gonna use an attribute called value, and because the value of this button is male, the value is gonna be male. I'm gonna close it, then I'm just gonna copy it and make one for female as well, like that. Let's view it in the browser. As you can see, the visitor can now choose between male and female. He can only choose one of them because this is a radio button. The next button I will show you is called a checkbox, and in this one you can cross off multiple answers. So to make a checkbox, I will also have to use the input again, and the type should then be checkbox. The name should be pet, because now I want the visitor to pick a pet. And the value attribute should be set to dog. That's the first one that they can pick. I'm just gonna close it. I'm just gonna type in here dog, like that. And then I'm gonna make one for cat as well. And let's view this in the browser. As you can see, John the visitor can now choose between cat and dog, or he can actually choose both, because this is a checkbox button. Next I want him to be able to choose which color his pet is. I would like him to be able to do this from a list menu. So I'm gonna go back. In order to make a list menu, I'll need to use the select tag. It looks like this. Like that, and then I'm gonna close it. I'm also gonna give the select tag a name. And it should be colors. Inside of the select tag, I will need to specify the options which John can select. I like him to be able to choose between white and black. So I'm gonna type in options, and the value should be, the first one should be black. Like that. Actually, it's not options, it's only option. That's more like it. And then I'm just gonna copy this one and type in white. So now I have a list menu with two options, black and white. Let's view it in the browser. And as you can see, we have the list menu right here. If I press this one, I will be able to choose between black and white. Now I then want John to be able to type in a comment. In order to do so, we will need to make a text area. But first I'll just write comment, and then I'll make a line break, and afterwards I will then make a text area. To specify the size of this text area, I will need to use the columns and rows attribute. The columns attribute looks like this. I will set that to 20. And the rows attribute looks like this. I'll set that to 5. And that is rows with an S. Let's view it in the browser. And now we got a comment area. Well, John can type in a comment. The comment area is 20 columns wide. It's this one. And 5 rows high, this one. Now I want John to be able to type in a password, so I'm just gonna write password, and then I'm gonna make the input tag, and the type this time is gonna be password, like that. The length of this password should be a maximum of 8 characters, so I use the max length attribute and set that to 8. Let's view it in the browser. So if John wants to type in a password, he can go down here and type whatever. And as you can see, it will not show the characters because it is a password. Finally, I want John to be able to submit this formula or this form. And I also want him to be able to reset it, meaning deleting all the content. First I'll show you how to make the submit button. So I'm just gonna type in the input tag again. The type this time is submit. And the value should be set to submit as well. Just gonna close it. And then I also want to make a reset button. So I'm gonna use the input tag again. Type this time is reset. And the value could be delete all. The value is what is going to be printed on the button. Let's view it in the browser. And down here we now got the submit button and delete all button. If I press the submit button, then the form will be submitted. But again, you will need PHP or JavaScript for this to function. The delete all button will also be functioning. If I do like this, choose something, blah blah blah, and then I press delete all, it will erase all the content which I have typed in to the form. And that was the final word for this video. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, please visit beginnertask.com, where you will also find a lot of other videos. Thanks again, and see you soon.